Hi everyone. Normally Valentin and me, we work remotely, but sometimes it happens from the same office. So I thought it was a great idea to sit together and record a movie. We did some things around the documentation, right, Valentin? I think it's cool to showcase them to our users.
Hi, Owen. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
So we did a few different things. So one of them actually is related to the search. Click on the search. You previously were able to search, for example, for expression, and it searched the entire documentation as you are used to from a search. Now, in addition to that, we now have the capability to ask an AI to search for you in the documentation. So what is a backend expression? We can, for example, ask the Flowable AI. Once we say that, it is basically going ahead and asking the AI what a backend expression is.
Cool. So if I'm understanding it correctly, then we use ChatGPT, right? So we take the Flowable documentation, give it a context to the REST endpoints of OpenAI, ChatGPT, and then we get back this result, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we are doing. And a little bit more precise, we only give the relevant parts of our documentation to ChatGPT. And therefore, you need to know what are the relevant parts. So we went ahead and indexed our entire documentation to a database and generated so-called embeddings. And with those embeddings, we are able to compare your question to the parts of the documentation just by comparing a long vector and seeing which are the most relevant parts. We then go ahead and use those parts basically to go ahead and give ChatGPT the context which is relevant to answer your question.
Cool, that's very cool. Actually, just scanning it quickly, the answer looks correct, right? Yeah.
And it looks pretty good. So it tells us about unified expression language, what is exactly what we are using.
Yeah.
And then it also tells you how you can start and end an expression. Cool. So I think the answer here for that, I would say, not really detailed question is really good. But even when you ask detailed questions, in case it is in our documentation, the results are quite good.
But that's not the only thing we did, right?
No, that's not the only thing. There's another thing which is mainly about the modeling part, where you see now when you know the documentation actually before that we have a lot of new menu items here on the left side. And we started to introduce the different model types which we have in Flowable Design here on the left side. So for example, CMMN, where we have introduction, concept, and reference here then as menu points below that. So when we click on introduction, you get a quick start. When we click on concepts, there you see the different concepts which are available in CMMN. Obviously, there are more than just the case views from a concept point of view, but that is the content we already had. We restructured it now. And then reference, we see all the different items which are available inside the Flowable CMMN.
Cool. And if I recall correctly, that reference, let me just randomly click on one. Here we go. Yeah. Right. That's the same information that we have in the new Flowable Design. We recorded a movie about new Flowable Design a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't seen it, just go and watch it. And there's a lot of emphasis there on the info texts that we have on each step on the wizards that we showcased, on the properties, and that information is coming from there, right?
Exactly. So those are the same mention of properties, and you also might recall those symbols here for expressions and translatable from Flowable Design itself. So it mentions all that information which we have in the new design in here. And with that, you have the possibility to search in that information and also send, for example, links to your colleagues.
Cool. And so basically, the goal is that we have a kind of fixed pattern, right? Like if we'd open up the event and channels, for example. Yeah, exactly. You have introduction, concept, reference, and then if there's any examples. Right. So the goal is that for each of the model types that we support, we'll have a similar pattern so people can find their way easily.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So all right. Those are the different sections which we have.
Yeah.
And we are working, of course, on getting all the different models which we have complete and have different elements.
Which is a lot of work, I can assume, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of work. But lucky me, it's not just me doing it, it's the entire product team who is working on that.
And there's more around documentation, right?
Yeah, there's one more thing actually when we go here for BPMN and an introduction, and of course we are going to add that at different places as well. We have that hello world in here, and it's not just a hello world with a video as we are used to already since I think almost a year when we started doing those how-to videos. we have now also in here the try it out button to go ahead and try it out. And you see here the first screen where you need to confirm that you are not a robot. And when you check that box, you can see I'm not a robot, and then it's loading an exercise for me. So that exercise here gives me on the right side, and we are going to see that in a second, the possibility to read all the different tasks which I'm supposed to do. And on the left side, we have Flowable Design. So you can play around with Flowable Design here whenever you want. And you even have an exercise which you are supposed to complete.
And this is based because you've also been, the people on the, probably on the other side don't know that, you've also been doing quite a bit of Flowable trainings in the past, right? And this is based on your experience as a Flowable trainer, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, when you are doing trainings, you have always a group of people, you give them exercises, and you directly as a trainer feel when people are not getting their hands dirty and doing those exercises, then they don't get that much out of training. So the idea was, how can I improve those exercises to get basically everybody understand the concepts and have the product use. And now you have the possibility to even do that without the training, at least on a few entry things. And we are going to add that later to also explain concepts here as part of our documentation. And
well, let's do one, right? What's the first thing?
Create an end event. Actually, all of that is also explained here on the right side. When we save now, it is going ahead and jumping to the next task. Yeah, I mean, maybe it was not the first time where I created an end event, but let's assume it's the first time where I add a user task. And there, the text here might not be helpful enough. And what you can do is you can either click on the question mark, which is going to tell you more detailed what you're supposed to do, or here at the bottom, you can click on the video and watch a video of me doing that. I mean, you are doing that right now anyway, but
it's a video of you in a video. Let's
don't do that. But and here I can now take my user task, drag and drop it, and save it, and then this task is also completed. Now, you might realize that since I pressed the question mark, I only got half a star. That's the disadvantage. So there's some kind of gamification in there. So whenever you press the question mark, you only get half the star. In case you would like to get at the end all of them, you can still reset the exercise and start from the beginning. Then we have a reset button. Now let's make the next task. Hello world. I'm able to spell that and I'm able to rename that task. And the next interesting part is now coming. We are even able to publish our application. I mean, that's now checking that we press the publish button. And once we publish, it's actually going ahead and redirecting us to Flowable Work.
Okay, cool.
So now we have the possibility in here to even try out the process which we just built.
Right, let's go for it.
Okay, new work. And continue. And here we see we have our Hello World process with our Hello World task, which we are now supposed to complete. I press complete here and I press we made it. So
all right, cool. Done. I think those were the things we wanted to share with the Flowable users. We still have all of things up our sleeve around documentation, so stay tuned. Valentin, I think this was quite impressive. Thank you very much for sharing it, and see you next time.
Thank you, and thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.